Hey all, this is Keith with the Common Sense Practical Prepper Podcast, June 23rd, 2025. So here's a hypothetical question for you. What do you do when a couple members of your group, whether it's of your family or groups of friends or your little prepping group or whatever, what do you do when a couple of those members come to you and say, look, I know we were supposed to bug out or bug in given the circumstances, but we've decided we don't want to do that. If it's a bug out situation and the plan, whether it's a very fine-tuned plan or a loose plan that everybody has agreed to, what do you do when they say, we're not bugging out? We want to stay. We don't think it's worth going out in the bad weather, whether it's too hot, too cold. We don't want to jump in a vehicle and head 100 miles, 200 miles, 300 miles to the bug out location. Maybe you don't have a bug out location, but the circumstances would dictate that for everybody's safety, you need to get into the vehicle and then leave. Knowing that everybody in the group, has a role, you as the leader or co-leaders or whoever you have, you don't take all the responsibility. Everybody has their own little role in the group if you bug in or you bug out. And everybody needs to know the plan of the person next to them. If someone has a specialty skill, let's say they were a nurse or they're a doctor, let's EMT or something like that, basic first aid, ALS, advanced life saving training. You want to make sure that at least two people have some sort of medical training. Because if one person was to be injured or worse, then you have to have that backup plan. So what do you do? What if someone who says, I'm not bugging out, what if they are the EMT? So now, in the event that you do bug out, the person who doesn't have as much medical training, let's say, now they're part of the group that's leaving. Or do you leave? What do you do when one or two people, regardless of the number of people in the group, decide that, no, we're not going to do what the plan, dictated? A severe supply chain disruption. You've got people going from door to door, kicking in doors, looking for food, looking for water, looking for shelter. And your plan, for example, was to leave and go to a secondary location, Aunt Judy's house in Iowa, whatever it happens to be. But for whatever reason, some of the group says, no, we're not leaving. With the understanding that leaving is the best bet, is the best option, whereas no option is optimal. But it's been decided that bugging out is the best of all the really bad options. Knowing that if you stay, that you're going to be attacked, you're going to be overrun, and you're going to be, at the very least, injured, if not worse. We've talked about how desperate people can be. If somebody's going to shoot you in the head over your iPhone 16, you damn well better believe they're going to do that for a gallon of water or a jar of baked beans. People do some crazy things when they're desperate. People do crazy things when they're not even desperate. There's a lot of people out there that have no regard for human life. So don't think for a second that someone who is thirsty or hungry is not going to cause you bodily harm or worse to get your can of tuna and your 5-gallon bucket of rice, whatever it happens to be. So what do you do in those situations? That puts you as the leader, or you're a co-leader, or whatever it happens to be. Maybe you make informed decisions among the group, and everyone, all in favor of bugging out, say aye, aye, all opposed. It has to be unanimous. Everybody has to be bought in. Everybody has to know their role. So what do you do? It puts you in a very bad position because it's been decided that, in this example, bugging in is not the thing to do. Regardless of the reason why these people in the group do not want to bug out, it makes no difference. Whether they don't like, they get car sick in a car, whatever it happens to be, it makes no difference the situation or the reasoning why they don't want to, in this situation, bug out. but knowing that staying puts you at significantly more risk than bugging out. I don't know how I would react in a situation like that. You don't want to leave the folks that you've worked so hard to prepare, your food and your water, all that stuff. You don't want to leave them behind because they're your friends and you care for them, you're their family members and you love them, whatever it happens to be. You don't want to leave them behind, but knowing that if you stay behind, that your fate is, for the most part, is sealed. You've decided that you have to leave because you don't want to die in an attack. You don't necessarily have to have like a warrior's mentality or a survivor's mentality, but I think within the group, the collective, everybody has to decide, look, we're not going to be victims. We're going to do the best we can. We're not just going to roll over and wait for the people that kick down our door, the nuclear fallout, running out of food, running out of water. You don't want to be in that position where you have to decide, because everybody has a role. And if you have five people, let's say you have 10 people and 2 stay behind, you're short 2. Those people are part of your group. They have a role to play. They were going to do X, Y, and Z. Now the duties and responsibility of those 2 are now put on and split up among the remaining people that are bugging out. And then how do you leave friends or family members behind? When you bug out, you're not going to the Ritz downtown. You're not going to be dining at a 5-star Michelin restaurant. You're going to take your supplies that you've worked so hard to prepare, and you're leaving the situation here because the risk is significant, and you're putting yourself in a position of less risk. At least that's the plan. Staying where you are is an absolute no-go. Getting out on the road and going to the next location, wherever it might be and whatever it might be, gives you a better chance of survival than staying where you are. That's a predicament. That's a hypothetical that I guess you should consider, and that when the poop does hit the fan, if folks have decided, look, we're not leaving, then I guess there needs to be a contingency for that. Just a hypothetical. It's enough stress and everything with the poop hitting the fan, and then bugging out is very, very stressful, leaving behind everything, your house, if you can't take your pets, whatever it happens to be. You have to leave your home behind because your demise is imminent if you do stay there. Just something to think about.